This is WFO Radio.
WFO. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to WFO Radio Live. We got a great show for you today. So we are going to hear from some heavy hitters in the world of NHRA drag racing as we get ready to return to the track mid-July. Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, Indiana. Back-to-back weeks, drag racing will return at the national event level, and I am super excited. Of course, it'll be on NHRA.TV, Fox Broadcast Network, the big network, going to show it all. So if you have ever loved drag racing, it's kind of like that, you know, the corner store or the hamburger place that you love that's in your neighborhood and you want to support it. If you have ever loved NHRA drag racing at any point, you've got to be gathered around the TV and ready to watch those weekends. And we are starting the hype machine now. We're going to hear from Matt Hartford, top 5 in the world in Pro Stock 1 year ago, owner of the quickest fuel-injected Pro Stocker in the history of Pro Stock. He'll be on the show seconds from now. Also, NHRA National Dragster Phil Burgess going to be on the show talking about the return to print. That's right. National Dragster has been free in a digital version. They're rolling out the print edition this edition. And we're going to get into it with Phil, talk a little drag racing, talk about Indy, and of course, Inside Top Alcohol's Will Hanna. Will, great guy, shares the microphone during Alcohol Cars with me. We're going to learn a bit more about him, and we're going to talk about the alcohol ranks in the Lucas Oil Series. They have an abbreviated season as well, but guess what? Whoever wins the championship will be a legitimate champion regardless. And so everybody is getting geared up, geeked up. First, I got to tell you about our WFO Radio sponsors, the people who make it all possible, like Holley.com, talking about Holley Performance, and Holley doing amazing things. For over 115 years, they have been the undisputed leader in fuel systems. Holley carburetors have powered every Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series team and nearly every NHRA Pro Stock champion for 4 decades now. Holley EFI products power these cars and are dominating the performance world. As a single solution or partnered with other products from Holley brands, they give you the edge you need over the competition. That is Holley. And thanks to the folks from Holley for supporting WFO Radio's programming. They are one of our weekly sponsors. Go to the website, Holley.com, and check them out. Another one of our great sponsors who we really appreciate. I got to get this one right. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, from stock eliminator all the way up to Formula One. Their gas-ported piston rings can help you find that extra horsepower. And I've been learning so much on the podcast that is Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal. Mark Cronquist, our most recent guest, talking about Jason Line and his work ethic over there at Joe Gibbs Racing. That was a lot of fun. But bottom line, it's to make sure that the people who listen realize all the technology that goes into making these rings as narrow as possible and make as much horsepower as possible to seal your cylinders as well as possible, whether it be high-tech world of Formula One or Indy car or something like that, to a stock eliminator car, to your car. Check them out, TotalSeal.com. And they had a great deal going with 20% off on tools. We'll ask Matt Hartford, who is seconds away, about that when we bring him up. Also, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. If you want to become smart like these crew chiefs and people who are in the industry, CNC programmers, well, Samtech can help you out. Samtech.edu, they're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. Go to samtech.edu. And while you're searching for podcasts, check out Factory Stock Podcast. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, smaller classes, social distancing, keeping it nice, but you can still learn to drag race at the highest of levels with one of the greatest of all times, Frank Hawley, at frankhawley.com. Check them out. And finally, Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, the hot sauces and the spice rub, everything good for your grill. Fort Worth, Texas. If you want an outdoor kitchen that is the envy of your neighborhood, you can go to Rodak's. If you would like a bag of coffee that will also be the envy of your neighborhood, go to Rodak's, 817-924-6821. Also, if you go to the address on your screen, you can get some cool WFO Radio stickers for free. I send them back out if you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. I love going over to the post office box, looking in there and seeing all the envelopes. I know people like the show. And speaking of the show, let's bring on our guest all the way from Arizona and Total Seal, finished 5th last year in the world in Pro Stock, Mr. Matt Hartford. Matt, how are you?
Mr. Castello, man, are you looking for a job? Because I heard that little skit there about Total Seal. Hell, you ought to be one of my sales guys.
I'm venturing into the world of sales too. I've learned a lot, whether I wanted to or not. My brain is now filled with all kinds of information about tribology and ring seal. And the most profound thing I learned, do you want to know what it is?
Let's hear it. Come on.
Okay, that we got to keep the oil on the bottom side and the gas and air on the top side.
Well, if you reverse it, that tailpipe thing, you start seeing all that smoke come out the back. That's never good. And
not going to be good.
I don't think that fans like that either.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So as much as we have spoken in the past about, you taking over Total Seal, and I want people to go check out that podcast, which you guys support. And we've done some cool things on NHRA social with the car. I want to get your take on where we are now. You had to be one of the most disappointed drag racers after the Orlando race, setting low ET for the fuel injection era, really, getting on top of the situation early on with the KB Power. You had made the switch over. That race had to have you feeling great about where you were, only to have the COVID-19 problem hit, and here we are stuck.
Man, I'm telling you, we were heading to Gainesville, and actually the car got there. I got clear to Dallas and got turned around, but the car got there, and our whole team was like, we have a car right now that can go out and dominate. And if I do my job as a driver and we do our job as setting up the car right, there's no reason we can't go out there and run low ET at any event that we go to. Jason and the whole KB crew have provided such great horsepower for us that it's just up to us to adapt it to the track. And all I can say is look out, because when we get to Indy, we're coming for them. We're not going there to just hang back and try to, make some nice qualifying runs. We're going to try to go to the top and win every race we go to.
And that's important because there is no countdown. The strategy that was the strategy for the past however many years, work on your setup, get everything prepared, and then try to have this perfect last 6 race run, not the deal. If you can go to the semifinals each of these races, you're going to be in the championship conversation.
And I screwed it up last year. I mean, I proved how you can be in second place going into with 2 races left and being barely a round and a half out of first. And, down a drain, you end up 5th. Not that 5th isn't a great place to have finished. I'm really proud of my team and all of our sponsors for supporting us. But at the end of the day, we had a chance to win and we didn't capitalize on it. This year, we've got, 13 races. However many races there are, that's how many we have to put a number 1 on the car for next year.
And it's very possible for everyone. And 10 years from now, there is not a person that's going to look back at this championship and say it's less valuable than any other one. In fact, it might be the most unique championship of all of them, given what we had to, how hard we've all had to work to survive, frankly.
Well, I mean, and when you talk about that, Indy is going to be kind of bittersweet for us. It's going to be the first race back, but we're going to be a little bit limited at Indy. And, Chris from CIP1, he's been my partner on the car for 8 years now. The Canadian border's closed. He cannot leave Canada. So that means when we get to Indy, he's going to be in Canada. That's heartbreaking for us. I know it's heartbreaking for him, but that's going to, I think, give us more focus to go there and figure out what do we need to do to qualify number 1, win this race, and send the trophy back up to Vancouver.
Yes, exactly. And CIP1, by the way, speaking of WFO sponsors, if you go to the website, if you're an air-cooled guy, VW parts, click on that banner ad, baby, because KI has been very helpful to WFO as well. Let's talk about that fuel injection run in that, all right, you made the switch over from Elite Power, which got you top 5 in the world last year, to KB Power. Spoke with Greg last week. Greg seems very focused and intent, and from what I understand, I know dynos in Oklahoma never stopped, and it seemed like the case in North Carolina as well. These guys have just been burning through, trying to learn, and hopefully you're going to benefit from that.
Well, I know one thing is I know that our orders keep coming in from them, and we keep sending them rings. So that means that they must be doing something because they're not out racing, at least to my knowledge. I know my car's not out racing. Listen, I don't think that there's anybody you can hitch your wagon to that's got, just more history and is at the top of the game than KB right now. I mean, we made the switch for one reason and one reason only. We want a number 1 on our car. I don't want anybody else to have it. It's us to come. We're coming to get it. And I think KB Power is going to be the way we do it.
That is tremendous. And I like that attitude. I think our sport now, and I want your opinion on this, now more than ever, need to throw caution to the wind about anything that has to do with entertainment value. So whether it be a driver speaking confidently about what they want to do and maybe, oops, stepping over the line and offending someone, or their competition making themselves a target, talking some smack, looking foolish because you lose first round. None of it matters, because we need the fans to be interested. The ones that are allowed to come to the track, the ones watch on NHRA.tv, and these first races are going to be on the Fox Broadcast Network at a time where there's no baseball, there's no football, there's not a lot going on. We've got a big chance to capture some new fans.
Listen, make no bones about it. If we don't put fans in the stands, there are no sponsors and there will be no racing circuit. I mean, obviously, people are always going to race, are always going to go out and run their car, whether, it's at a local track or out through some, dirt track in a field somewhere. People are always going to race. It's the history of just, pretty much mankind. It's always competitive. But without all these fans, it simply doesn't happen. Myself as a driver, myself as a car owner, as an owner of a business, we have to focus on the customer is who comes first. Our customer is the fan. The fan is the guy spending a lot of hard-earned money to come into that track and to buy a hot dog, buy a T-shirt, and watch us go up and down a racetrack. So it's up to us to make it appealing to them. I think that you're going to see this year more interaction between the drivers, meaning I don't think it's going to be kind of ho-hum, all we got to do, let's just be in the top 10 when we get to the countdown, and then we'll race 6 races to see who wins. It's cutthroat this year. It's go out there, you got 2 qualifying runs, you're going to have over full field. That means people are going home after only 2 qualifying runs. It's going to suck to not qualify. So this year, I think you're going to just see you'll see a lot more emotion on the racetrack than you have in the past few years.
Well, I am hoping. All right, we've got some people out there on the Facebook and YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, who are checking in. Scott just saying what's up and everything. But Derek, hey, Matt, we saw Joe rebuild a transmission, and you said someone could do it in like 5 to 10 minutes. Can you guys make a video of someone actually rebuilding it in that time frame? I'd love to see that in video form, says Derek Green, one of our big listeners out there.
Oh, we definitely can do that for you. You're going to have to give us a little bit of time to get back in the swing of things, though. I haven't built a transmission now since Orlando. I gotta figure out how the bolts come in and out. But yeah, for sure, it's not uncommon to see a transmission come apart, switch all 5 gears, go back together, definitely in under 10 minutes. That's a pretty common thing in pro stock. We'd love to make a video for you.
And that's insane in that of all the things that we did last year on the car. And I'm always going to talk about that for my WFO listeners out there. It was such a great experience, from the valve spring, which I often show off. It's now artwork here in the studio.
You won't get to do that again now with us.
Yeah, I gotta work on Jason. Maybe after he retires, I'll just go up and touch it. Or maybe I'll just tell him, I just did it, and give him a heart attack. One or the other. But those were some great experiences. But the thing that stressed me out the most was the transmission. Even the starting the car, the catastrophe of dropping it and gears falling over the place would have been a nightmare. But if I was smarter, I would have done that, because it would have been a viral video that would have gone across the world 1 billion times. Watch the incompetence.
So next time we're letting you build a transmission, we're not gonna. So nope, you're done.
Exactly. And we look at this. Your own social media is checking in.
Who's that? Eddie. Eddie operated camera. The stock market must be closed or something.
Is that what Granaccia does? Okay, tell me about the quickest run in the fuel injection era. In that it was a long time ago, but did you get all of it? What was it capable of? We had great weather there. And Greg explained last week that the traction setup was more aggressive than what you guys are used to. So you're able to really step on it. But, how can you take what you learned there and apply it? Here we are in midsummer. It's going to be a little different.
Well, I can tell you this, as we were sitting in the lanes and I was feeling, we put a tune-up in the car that we thought was right for the conditions. and we're sitting in the lanes, and I'm feeling it just get cooler and cooler, and the water, you can start a little, the water's coming up a little moisture in the air. And I thought, man, we're wrong on this tune-up. And I grabbed the scooter and I ran back to the trailer. I came back and changed the tune-up, and not a big chunk, but enough of a chunk that I thought it made a difference. And I can remember talking to Jason, and I told him what I did, and he told me what he did, and we both agreed. One of us was going to be right, and one of us was going to be wrong. And to me, I was pretty confident that I was going to be wrong based on him saying that. And I let the clutch out, and that thing it hiked the front end. It got out there. I pulled second gear, and the fact that it got through second gear, I knew it was on a run. And when Eddie came on and said 46.0 and 46.7, I was like, man, I hope I was the 46.0. And then he clarified it. And to be the quickest car in pro stock right now, it's something we hang our hat on, but we're not resting on that. We can go quicker. We went 950 down low. That yellow car went 945 or 946, I think. So that there was 3 or 4 thousandths more on the table that we could have gotten. 45.5 is the quickest run ever, and that was by Jason. So I think we could have got on it that night. I do not think anybody's going to get on it the rest of this season.
Just because of the weather conditions, maybe at Pomona, maybe.
Gainesville could be you're going to be in a 30 barometer, and it could be cooling down by the time we get to Gainesville. But I think that they did such a great job. Yeah, no, I think they did such a great job at Orlando that it just had so much bite all the way down the track. And the setup for a car Orlando will not work in Indy coming up next week. Let me tell you, or in a couple weeks from now. Those two setups are like night and day.
Got it. Well, you mentioned the Gator Nationals in September. Nobody knows what that's like, and I know it can be very hot, stagnant, humid air. Maybe it won't be, but it certainly can be. But seeing those numbers come up on the board, we need a new Pro Stock world record. There were many things that changed when fuel injection came in, the 10.5 rev limiter, et cetera, and so on. But it would be nice to finally get to the point where we can eclipse that era and then move forward with a new record.
Yeah, and like I said, that 46.0 was a monster run. It doesn't go down in the NHRA record books, although it was an NHRA quote-unquote sanctioned event technically, based on all the NHRA tech guys were there. They were the ones checking fuel. They were the ones weighing the car. So to us, we did it under complete NHRA rules in front of all the NHRA crowd with the NHRA officials. To us, it's as good as it gets. Yes,
you have the quickest pro stocker in the world, and under these current rules, and that's the deal. KI is out there. He's trapped north of the border, but he is still the internet. They cannot stop it. Always transmission rear end work for Joe. Total Seal Pits, CIP1. Everyone loves to watch Joe work on the Car Great segments. That's nice. Isn't that nice? That's a nice. Yeah,
I'm telling you, that's it was a lot of fun last year having you out there work on the car with us for sure. Hopefully we can do it more this year. So, I don't know how the first, 4 or 5 races are going to be. I think they're going to be really tight on time for everybody. I doubt we're going to have a lot of time to do a lot of social media, influx like that. Yeah. But as time goes on, we'll see.
All right, James Kraft out there does some work on competitionplus.com. Matt and Joe, are there any challenges in the piston ring world for mountain motor pro stock guys that differ from the 500 cubic inch realm, other than their bigger?
Absolutely. They are big, heavy pistons that are trying to take the rod right off the crankshaft when they go through ring reversal. But the size of the bore, you got to, instead of having the 4750 bore, say, or 4720, 4750 bore in an NHRA car, you're up in the 4800 plus. But it's such a big, heavy piston that it tries to rip the ring off the wall as it goes through. You have so much piston to wall clearance as it goes through rock over. We can't run as thin of a ring in a mountain motor car as we can in an NHRA car. So there is a lot of delicate, how do you want to say it? A lot of intricate little details that we'll do differently on a mountain motor car versus a 500-inch car as far as top, second, and oil ring.
Very interesting. And that's why you've got to subscribe to Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal, hosted by myself and Keith Jones. Oh, sorry, Matt, it's right over your face, and Lake Speed. And Matt's been on there, etc.
John Kazi was on there with you. There's a mountain motor, the guru from the beginning.
And I learned a lot on that. he was talking a lot about those numbers. When the piston gets to the top of the cylinder and then changes direction, those numbers are astronomical. It almost defies logic and physics as we know it. Definitely check out that. All right, what I'm going to do now, Matt, is I'm going to give we have the editor of NHRA National Dragster is going to be our next guest, and I figure I'll bring on Phil Burgess and have him get a crack at you as well. Phil, how are you? How are you doing over there? We're getting ready for the new print edition. We're going to talk about all of that, but I figured a little crosstalk between you and Matt would be entertaining.
Absolutely. Miss seeing you, Matt.
Well, I got my National Dragster in the mail last night. That was exciting. Matt Smith on the cover, and it was something I haven't seen in several months. So it was kind of a nice, bright way to end my day.
Oh, Matt Smith. It was supposed to be Matt Hartford. Dang it.
Damn it. All right, next time. We've had a couple of those that you've been so graciously to provide for us. So we're honored that we're even made it in National Dragster, let alone a cover.
Well, you definitely earned it. You got that big win, and we're happy to put you on there.
Now, on that note, Phil, I don't expect you to know this, but it was a rare occurrence, and maybe you keep this stat. When the guy or girl who's on the cover of NHRA National Dragster for an event also goes out and wins the event. That's what happened up there in Seattle last year. Hartford's on the cover. His mug is there. People are getting autographs signed, and he goes out and proves it, right? He delivers on the deal and wins the race.
Right. Yeah. Our record for that is probably not as stellar as we'd hope it would be, but there's no jinx that we know of having somebody on the cover and having them go out and blow up their stuff or DNQ or anything like that. So no Sports Illustrated jinx for us, but we have a fair amount of success, and it always makes us feel good and proud when people are looking at the issue in the stands there, and the racer goes out and wins the race.
Yes.
What made that even better, Joe, is that, obviously it would have been awesome to have Total Seal on the side of the car for that weekend as the major, but they were on the car, but we had Rottler on the side of the car, and that is Rottler's hometown. So we had 50 plus of their employees out there hanging out with us. We were on the cover of National Dragster. We got Rottler on the car in their hometown, and we win the race. So it was a pretty awesome weekend for all of us. And
do you have some news regarding Rottler and Seattle?
Yeah, we're very excited to come back to Seattle, defend our title, and as it stands right now, as long as that race happens, Rottler is going to be back on the side of the car with us. We're going to be out there trying to repeat our performance, and hopefully it's we can qualify a little bit better this year and go on to win the race again. But Rottler will be the major sponsor in Seattle, and Total Seal will be well represented on the car. But it's certainly it's exciting news to make sure that they're coming back with us.
Yes, love the fact, and the people that support you keep these cars on track. Phil, you got any questions for Matt that you might be wanting to know, since we've got the both on before we let them go?
Yeah, absolutely. Curious about your tune-ups. You don't have any data for example, Gainesville in September. What's your plan for that?
Well, the good thing is we have a weather station like every other team in the trailer. And so from an engine tuning standpoint, we can use the, temperature, humidity, the barometer. We can come up pretty close with what we need, because we do have a very good baseline on, for the engine tune. I'm going to take everything from the 646.0 run, and I'm going to use that as my kind of standard now. We have to say that was a good run, so we're going to use that from a good baseline. But then we start looking at, we've been to Gainesville many, many times. We've been there for national events, points meets, just like every other track we've been to. We're able to look at the track conditions, look at how thick the rubber is, look at, what the temperature is. And then that's where Eddie Granacci, that's where he comes into play. He's got a notebook and that is so thick that he's got stuff probably from back when they raced dinosaurs. So it's, there's been people along the way that says he should throw away them old notes because they don't mean anything. But I promise you, you can never go wrong by looking at data that you've had for so many years. And so when it comes down to it, Eddie, Adam, Chris, and Amber, we're all going to make the best decision, and we're going to go up there and go right down the racetrack Q1.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Yes, definitely. Eddie, you always are hitting him about being old, though. Like always, it's old jokes with poor Eddie. He still looks good. He's okay.
He's old. I mean, I think he's going to be, his birthday's coming up here next month, and about 1 month from today, and just under a month from today. And I think he's somewhere in the 9. I'm not going to say what it is, but he's getting up there.
You should convince him to do to his hair what you have done to your hair.
I think I've turned his hair gray is what I've done. So
he's halfway there.
I'm sure that there's no one that's more excited to get to a racetrack than Eddie's wife, Lynn. I'm sure she wants him out of the house. So Eddie's he's going to be happy to get back there, but I guarantee you Lynn's going to be happy to kick him out of the house.
There you go. Look at that. Amber making decisions. Look out. Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Phil, any final questions for Matt before we let him go?
Just ready to put you on the cover again, buddy. Make it happen.
Yes, sir. We'll see you in a few weeks, and I am looking forward to getting back there. We're looking forward to getting the Total Seal car, right to the front.
Love it, Matt. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All you do. Good luck out there in July as NHRA makes its big return with the Mellow Yellow Series, and good luck chasing the championship. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, bud.
There goes Matt Hartford. Matt Hartford Racing, leaving Phil Burgess, editor of NHRA National Dragster, with us. They had a real breakout year last year. Matt is still disappointed. He blames himself down the stretch for a couple of missteps. Felt like they could have maybe even been in the mix for the championship, but it seems like that fire is fueling him this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, everybody comes in at Pomona, the Winter Nationals, thinking they can win the championship. The reality is most people can't. So when you have a good car like Matt had last year and building up from the year before, I think your anticipation is just sky high. The team is all geared up, and, one by one, things go bad along the way. But I think that, knowing you got the car and the crew and the driver that can do it just inspires you. And I think, ready to take another swing at it, as soon as we get back to Pomona every year.
I love it. That's an aspect of the sport that I know I'm trying harder to show the grit, the determination, the anger, the pain, how much these guys and girls want it to be successful. And all they're doing, we see these two cars pull into the water box. They do a burnout. They go on green. The light comes on. What did it all mean to them? And getting to know more and more people more deeply, you realize like this is their life. This is everything they do. They're putting their all into it.
Absolutely. I think for us, when we watch the race as fans, I don't think we factor in that heartbreak, all that hard work. I've worked on race cars in the past, and you get a real appreciation when your car loses of how disappointing that is. And that's just, I don't have a personal stake in the car. I'm working on the car, for a story or to be a friend. But the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes and the hopes, every time you tow that car to the line, you're thinking good thoughts, and maybe sometimes things don't go right, and it's just crushing sometimes. And for them to be able to do this and know you're going to go for a pro 24 races, and if you're doing good, you might win 5 of them, so 19 times you're going to leave the track disappointed without a win. That's tough.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of putting your life into something, let's talk about the new edition of NHRA National Dragster. Beautiful cover. I love the star filters. I'm a sucker for star filters, or if that's even what it's called. Going back, I've got a photo of my own car, star filter at Orlando, and it's just like my favorite photo ever. It feels 1970s, funny cars, smoke in the air, incandescent lights, those old school lights that were, now that we look back, totally insufficient for what they were trying to do. But love the cover. Most importantly, this is a milestone edition in that you're returning to print, the whole COVID situation, and now people are going to get their Dragster in their mailbox. Some of our listeners already have.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we're looking for that cover. We wanted something that was, something that says we're back to racing, and nothing says back to racing more than a Christmas tree, just about to turn. We went through hundreds of photos. Jerry Foss, our photo editor, and David Kennedy and myself looking for the perfect image, and we found that one. Obviously, Matt Smith, a great racer, great representative to have on there. Also, with the first race in Indy being the debut of the bikes for the season, it all just kind of fit together. But it was really great to have that opportunity and to think about it landing in people's hands.
You have seen many, many different points in the sport, high points and low points, high points of championships and epic runs, Steve Torrance's perfect playoff, all of that, low points. We've had tragic crashes. But nothing like this. This is something I think the whole world has not really experienced. What do you think of the way our community of racers, the teams, the racers, the NHRA, the media, the people who are vested in this have handled all of this?
I think it's been really great. We miss seeing the racers at the track, but I spent a lot of time on the phone with many of them over the last couple of weeks. And, they're eager to get back. They're willing to tell their stories about what they're doing to get ready, how much they've been missing it, why they've been missing it. And I think we've all kind of just pulled together. Obviously, all of us wanted to be racing in March, and then we wanted to be racing in June. And everybody realizes that that's beyond all of our control. And so I think the fans have been very gracious. The racers and team owners and sponsors have all been very responsive and supportive, knowing where we're headed, what we're trying to get back to. And it's been heartwarming for me to see that, to work with our team here at NHRA, to work with the racers and the PR people, and just to keep the machine going and let people know, that NHRA is still out there. We're ready to get back, and when we do, we're going to kick some butt.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to hear you say that. I agree. The first couple races going to be on the Fox Broadcast Network. I said at the start of the show, I don't know if you were online just yet, but it's negative, but it's an opportunity. We're going to be on Fox Broadcast Network. There's not really a lot of other sports that have been going. NASCAR's been going without fans. They're going to have some limited fans. But the sport of drag racing is one that's near and dear to all of our hearts because we get it. And just getting new people to get it, to be exposed, like what? They're doing what? They're going how quick? They're accelerating how fast? Who's in that car? What's he do? What did he do? Those kind of things. This is a huge opportunity, back-to-back races in Indy.
Right, absolutely. I mean, when you think of a place to do this, Indy is a great place, not just because it's where most of the teams are located, but it's our most hallowed venue. And to have our return be at Indy, it's just, it all kind of fit together. You couldn't ask for a better scenario, a place to get our feet wet, try out all the new procedures and everything. There's a lot that's going to change for us, for the fans, for the racers, as far as, personal protection and social distancing and all that stuff. We'll have guidelines on that soon on NHRA.com if everybody's curious about that. Hopefully by the end of the week. Very, very detailed. A lot of work has gone into it. A lot of thought has gone into it. So I think those are things people are curious about. But it's just going to be such an interesting season. I talked to Tommy Johnson Jr. Last week, and he was saying more than ever he wants to win this championship because everybody's going to remember this year just for how crazy it was. People are not going to have a problem remembering who won the championships 2020 just because it's such an unusual year. No countdown, huge gap in the middle of the season. It's going to really be something that people are going to remember. And I see Tommy's point on that.
I do. I'm surprised he had time to speak with you, though, giving his home improvement project schedule. My goodness. Right. Yeah. He's in the running for most productive during this crisis.
The man is talented. I cannot believe the quality of the work that he does and the amount of work that he does. And that beard, my gosh.
Yeah.
It was working itself.
What's funny is everybody who listens to the show knows I've been kind of against the whole beard thing for 10 years, right? Ever since beards came back, like, why are we doing that? Goatees, okay, no big deal. But the big beards, I think that the COVID is actually going to be the end of the beard fad, because when people go back to like regular life, these giant ZZ Top beards, they're going to want to take them off, I think.
Yeah, they don't fit in a mask very well either. So there's that.
No.
So.
And WFO, just so you know, WFO has been cutting edge with the masks. We have been cutting edge with the masks from the beginning. The logo masks, it's going to be a new thing for all the sponsors out there. Everybody's going to have their logos. What else can we expect to see in this edition of NHRA National Dragster? And I also know that there's good news. I always thought, it's a member benefit, but it's so great. It would be cool if non-members could see it, because that would make them want to get the magazine and thus be a member. And you guys, during this period, you made the decision to make it free for all, digital edition. And I bet there's a lot of drag racing fans that realize that this is the Bible of NHRA drag racing for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. There was an unfortunate way to capitalize on that, but we thought that it was very important to do that, to put it out there as our way of helping out the community, letting people have access to NHRA drag racing since they weren't seeing it on TV and weren't being able to go to the races. It was a very easy decision to make in the end, even though, there's obviously things that are involved with that as far as members go and people like that. But our members have been very gracious and understanding, and it's given us a real good chance to expose not just our content, but our advertisers to new people who aren't previously subscribers. And I think that that's a huge thing for us.
It is. It's exclusivity versus the masses. It's a raging debate. I can imagine. Now, is that going to continue, the digital version? We're getting print versions, but I recall seeing something like you guys are going to continue to make it available, at least for a period.
Yeah. For at least the foreseeable future. I'm not going to promise it, but we're thinking maybe for the rest of this year just as a continued thank you to everybody out there. We will be in print from every issue going forward, and the free digital issues remaining online.
Very exciting. I made the analogy to the burger stand that you love down the corner and you want to support them. Now more than ever, becoming a member of the National Hot Rod Association, if you like drag racing and the whole car culture, now more than ever, it's important to support NHRA and the sports that you love. Any final thoughts as we let you go, Phil, about the issue, things we need to know to keep up with, things that'll be happening coming out of the NHRA? You already broke a little news that we should be on the lookout for what's going to be required, and we always check in every day. But any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, I think, our next couple issues are going to be focusing on this return to racing. We're going to have a pretty good preview of the Indy events, preview of we got the debuts of Pro Stock Motorcycle, Factory Stock Showdown, and the Pro Mod series coming back. So we'll have previews for all of those. Just a lot of forward-looking stuff, and then get back into the meat of it. And, like you, Joe, we'll be on the road for many, many weekends in a row. It's going to be interesting and a challenge for all of us, I think. But just overall, to the fans, to everybody out there, the racers, thank you for your patience during this time, not just for National Dragster, but NHRA and everything. There are so many people working so hard behind the scenes here at NHRA. I've been fortunate to be part of some of those discussions, and just the amount of thought and care that's going into what they're thinking and how they're planning this out. Very meticulous. People, a lot of people I know wanted us to come back in June in Gainesville. Just wasn't feasible. Wasn't smart. We wanted to come back, obviously, but the amount of thought and care that have gone into this has been amazing, and we realize that this has been a huge inconvenience for everybody, to put it mildly. But that there's these people who've lost family members. It's just tragic, and for us to say we're missing our racing sounds a little selfish, but it means a lot to us. This is our livelihood. This is what we love. And so I know a lot of you have been missing it, and we're sure looking forward to July 11th, getting back and doing this and kickstarting everything again. And
we will appreciate it. Now, yes, it's in context of a greater situation, but this is the lives of the people. They have devoted their lives to the sport of NHRA drag racing and carrying it along. And so whenever the time comes that we can get back, of course, July, back-to-back races, Lucas Oil Raceway, Pro Stock the first week, Factory Stock the second week, all kinds of stuff going on. It's going to be a big relief. We're going to have a lot of fun. Until then, we'll be reading our NHRA National Dragster. Phil, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on WFO Radio.
You bet. Thank you, Joe. Thank you to everyone out there. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. There he goes. The editor of NHRA National Dragster, Phil Burgess. Great guy. Allows me to have a column in there from time to time. And it's almost time for a new one. I better get to work on that. And it's funny. I get an email like, the column is due on this date. And I'm like, what do I do? And some of them are great, man. Those ones that I whip out, they're like, I can't believe I wrote that. It's pretty amazing. Thanks to Phil for coming on the show. And of course, Matt Hartford. Quick reminder, if you would like some free WFO radio stickers, that's right, I said free. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Castello Media /WFO stickers, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. We do have a couple of masks remaining. It's we're at the tail end of the mask experiment, to be honest with you. But if you wanted to indicate that you wanted a mask, I would send you a mask. But you got to make sure to send as many stamps as possible. Also, WFO Radio t-shirts are available at nitrofishracing.com. And if you go to the website and use the promo code WFO20, you get 20% off whatever shirt you buy. Now, I would prefer you get the 10-year anniversary Podfather of Drag Racing WFO Radio t-shirt. But really, if you use the promo code, that's great news. WFO20 at nitrofishracing.com. Oh, I see Luke is out there and a couple others from down under. We have a listener from down there in New Zealand, I believe. How about that? Has yet to sign in on Facebook, which is fine. And now we're going to go out to our next guest from Inside Top Alcohol. I am honored to share the microphone with him at NHRA National Events, where the Lucas Oil Top Alcohol categories come up. Mr. Will Hanna. What's up, Will?
Doing good, Joe.
You're doing good. You got a beard, but yours isn't crazy. You don't have one of these Tommy Johnson over-the-top crazy beards. Oh, my God. This guy. Let me look at you. Let me show you about the 1998 World Series, one of the greatest teams in the history of baseball that didn't have to do some sort of chicanery. What was that nonsense? Will, come on, you should feel, you got to have like a little joke in there. Exactly. You know you did not.
I'm breaking over here, breaking into the store.
I get it. But wouldn't it be nice if the folks at MLB could get their act together? Phil just mentioned how hard people are working to go racing and all the conversations and discussions and how challenging it is. And we understand, but baseball can't figure it out. I know it's a labor dispute and we're talking about millions of dollars, but don't they realize that that they're damaging themselves?
Apparently not. This tremendous opportunity for baseball and really any sport that can get out there. And I mean, America, really the whole world is really looking for, some sort of pastime, something to kind of distract them away from the reality of what's going on, especially right now with COVID-19 situation. So baseball, unfortunately, for those of us that follow it and, like watching it, unfortunately, it's they're not able to come together on that. But let's talk drag racing. The heck with baseball.
Yeah, I got to understand why you don't want to talk about it, because then the spotlight goes right back to the Houston Astros.
I just didn't want it to come around to the current inquiry they got going on the Yankees and have that, you have to deal with all that right here. On
Fake news. Nobody believes that. Fake news. You got to take part in the big return, the Lone Star Nationals at the Texas Motorplex. That had to be an honor, like tip of the spear. People don't realize you're a veteran, used to drive tanks in the United States Army. You know what that's like. It was a different experience this time. What was that like for you?
Oh, man, it was kind of a surreal experience. Andy Carter and the team at Texas Motorplex, Billy Meyer, everybody that was behind putting the event on. I mean, they came up to me last year, and we started having some conversations that they really want to have the biggest top alcohol regional event in the country. They really want to make it a big deal. And given all the current situation of the COVID and everything else, they could have backed up and punted on it. Instead, they kind of doubled down, and it was a very, very cool thing to be able to race out there with the Midwest Pro Mod group. So a lot of cool cars, a lot of fast cars, and a lot of people got to see that on NHRA.TV, also on BaneShift.com pay-per-view. And it's one hell of a race. I mean, we had some really good teams. We had full fields. Saw final round 549 to 549. Sean Bellemere over 80 Whiteley. Megan Meyer running out of this world, and sets the picture for the 2020 championship race in the top alcohol classes with the returning champs, really making a statement race out there at the Texas Motorplex.
Let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into your career as a tuner, U.S. Nationals winner, etc. This year, the points are different, but the championships will matter the same, maybe more, as we heard Phil and Matt just talk about. So explain for the audience how it's, I guess, just a fraction. It's abbreviated, fewer races for the championship.
Yeah, it's not really huge, but it's definitely a cut from what they have been doing. Past years, the national championship structure has been your best 7 out of the first 10 national events you go to attend, and your best 3 out of the first 5 regional events that you attend. And that's been given kind of a haircut. Now you're down to 5 of 7. And I believe it's 2 of 4, I believe, on the regional side. But the racers don't have as many offs. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. It's more of a professional type deal where you don't have as many opportunities to get rid of races per se. And that's one thing that, Megan went down and went out in the first round at Bella Rose and really struggled. And that car, that Randy Meyer car, obviously makes so much power and, contender to, run low ET any given time, any given round. And I mean, down there in Bella Rose, Louisiana, the DA was below sea level. And, it's just, that's really something, and you've been around the sport, for a number of years. If you go back into the 90s and early 2000s, the A-fuel cars were, oh boy, the air is good. It's going to be an A-fuel weekend. And they really had to have stellar air, not a lot of humidity, not a lot of, altitude. And, the hot summer months were always considered the blown car months. And it's kind of, flip-flop now that the A-fuel tuners have refined their combinations over the year to really, make a lot of power and do really well in those hot, steamy, sultry, humid months. And now they make so much horsepower. Then sometimes they have a little bit of difficulty backing it down when the air gets really killer, like we see in some of these conditions, below sea level.
Very interesting. Yeah, Megan, we got to connect with her on our happy hour show. Speaking of which, everybody, Courtney Enders, Jason Logan, another surprise guest on happy hour tomorrow, 4 p.m. So grab a beverage, be here for that period of time. Last week, we had just an unbelievable show with Dom Lagana, Nikki Bonifani, Bobby Lagana, just a lot of stuff. We had some craziness go on. They told us about these kind of deals. Now, Will, let's talk about you getting involved in this. This is just like most. This is a family sport for you. Tell us about some of these shots we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of born into it. My dad raced Pro Comp back in the late 70s, drove an A-Fuel Dragster back then, and he kind of grew up with another guy, Jay Meyer, who ended up running Top Alcohol Dragster Division 4 here in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And Dad raced with him, and I kind of grew up at the Division 4 tracks, being around this, and really the Top Alcohol cars have really all I've ever really known in racing, and what I've always aspired to be a part of. And I've been very blessed to be able to make a living at it, and going on 20 years now since I got out of the Army to make a full-time career out of it most of those years. And I've been blessed to be able to drive some cars and tune some cars and have some success.
Now you are a journalist, but you still tune cars. You got the Cruise Missile out there. We'll talk about that. I don't have the video, by the way, unfortunately, but we'll drive them to your page to see that. But what about this?
That was Harry Clack's Top Alcohol funny car. Drove it from 2005 to 2007. We were the second car to utilize the torque converter combination with the Lenco drive transmission, and I learned a lot, with that car. Not only driving, but also tuning. I was very fortunate in my tuning experience to kind of come up in the Tom Conway tree of dragsters, and I learned a lot from Tom Conway and worked for several cars that had his combination. But it also kind of spoiled you, because back in the early 2000s, damn near every blown car had a Conway combination or some variant of it. So if you needed pistons, if you needed this, if you needed that, you just called Tom, and I need pistons and a couple of little shiny things, and he knew what you needed, and he sent it to you. And kind of a structured in a box type of deal, and you could run very well with it. Well, obviously, torque converter being the second torque converter car that was way out of the box, a funny car, and a lot of different things. So it taught me a lot of things about tuning, and I had to learn. I learned the hard way, and there was a lot of times a driver wheel kind of chewed tuner wheels ass out, and then kind of vice versa when the driver wheel messed up tuner wheels deal. But very, very, very eye-opening experience, and was able to finally right there, 2007, we got the car running pretty good. We went 566 back in 2007 at the Gators at 254, and car owner Harry Clack decided to pursue some other business options and put everything up for sale. But I have no complaints. I tried a couple of years back to get my own team up and going, but at the end of the day, been pursuing stuff with Inside Top Alcohol now, and kind of stepping away from doing as much tuning, and trying to cover the alcohol classes, bring some light into them, and kind of show people the cool stories and how cool this class is, and just get that news out there to the public via social media.
Absolutely. And let's talk about it has to be your single greatest moment. This is a legendary thing in the world of drag racing. This is one of the things that is a talked about thing, the jump. Look at that. What's going on?
Got some ups for a big white boy, I guess.
Yeah. You're way up there, man.
That was, that's straight adrenaline. That shows you how much adrenaline winning the U.S. Nationals can give you to get my big ass that high up in the air. But that was a hell of a moment. That was with tuning Chris Foster's car, U.S. Nationals, and we just kind of had a plan, and long story short, we just decided, coming to the first round, we were going to get aggressive, and we wasn't going to back down, and we wasn't going to get stuff in our neck, so to speak. And we kept on getting aggressive, and we found something that liked doing that. And we got around Frank Manzo in the second round. That was a big. We didn't just flat ass outrun him, but we ran good, and he shook the tires, and that opened the door for us. And we beat Todd Vinny in the semis, and then we had Tony Bartone and Steve Boggs in the final, and it's kind of like shove all the chips in. So I leaned every jet on it out. I put clutch on it. We did everything for it and threw a Hail Mary, and he was open in the back of the end zone. We won it, got it done.
Who'd you run first round? If it's Manzo.
Paul Noakes. Beat Paul Noakes first round.
Okay. Well,
And we were number 10 qualifier. Didn't have lane choice, but we shoved in, and it was a good week. That was 2012. We actually had to come back the weekend after we got rained out or Labor Day weekend. Had to come back. So unfortunately, my dad was with us the original Labor Day weekend. Came back a week later. My dad wasn't able to come back and be a part of it, but I know he was watching along. And 2012 was a good year. I mean, we won Indy, and my kid was born in October. So
wow,
it was a good year all the way around.
So you won Indy, that's it. You know, U.S. Nationals winner as a tuner. Also, that is really an impressive vertical. I tweeted it out earlier as a teaser to get people to listen in. That is a very impressive vertical. Were you an athlete before you went into the Army?
I played football. Played some. That's the primary sport I played back in high school. I was a little bit smaller back then, or a lot smaller, however you want to look at that. But too much Mexican food down here in South Texas get to you if you're not staying active. But I played ball. But it was it's like I said, it's just a straight adrenaline type of deal.
Tremendous.
It was, and growing up around it, and it just what it means. I mean, I was fortunate to win a U.S. Nationals with Jay Meyer as a crew member back in 2000, and I mean, I was just the guy literally wiping down oil pans and cleaning oil filters and everything. But I mean, Phil Burgess National Dragster. I mean, man, I'd love to have the digital National Dragster back in the day. I was literally the kid that would stare out the window about the middle of the day during the summer and see if the mailman was going to bring that this week's copy of National Dragster.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff is out there, says that you have turned him into an alcohol fan over the past couple of years. And let's speak on that. I want to make sure people get to know my guests as opposed to just like a talking head in a box on a screen on a show or a voice on the WFO Radio podcast, which hopefully everybody is subscribed to and has written a great review. But you're tuning top dragsters. You got a new project going with the D-Cruise, and the cruise missile looks awesome. But what is it about these categories? Like, if you were to get you can't get rid of nitro cars. Everybody likes the nitro cars, but if no one ever saw what a nitro car was, these things would be incredible. The funny cars in particular, the speeds, the sound, and it's clearly a passion play for the people. We've got teams with like 2 guys running a top alcohol funny car. What do people need to know about these categories? I know you can't sit in the grandstand for 8 straight hours, but you got to watch a session or 2 or eliminations of top alcohol. Why is it? What is it about these cars?
I mean, they're the quickest and fastest quarter mile cars left. I mean, for that, for the quarter mile 1320 fans, alcohol funny car drivers are dragging. From the clutch leads. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like converter cars. Drove one and they got a spot in what we're doing. But I mean, still the manual bringing up the engine RPM 7,000, 7,500, 8,000, swapping feet, doing the shifting themselves, going down track, and those cars are not easy at all to drive. But you get to do a lot of driving with them, and so. It's kind of the bull riding of NHRA drag racing, so to speak. But, the alcohol dragsters and injected nitro dragsters, you get the pop, the nitro, the flames at night, and then the high winding dragsters. I mean, it's just, and most all you have some toured professional teams or semi-professional teams, but you have a lot of teams that are just in it totally for love and, going out there and chasing the dream and volunteer crews, friends, and, so it's kind of that college football, minor league baseball feel to it. And I think it's once I can get it across a fan and get them to take a look at it, I think we've got a pretty good chance of snaring them in and making them a long-term fan. And unfortunately, just the way things shake out, the top alcohol classes over the years haven't got as much limelight, so to speak, as I think they could. So in a way, that kind of makes my job easy because the NHRA top alcohol classes are a hell of a product of the Lucas Oil Series and everything. And, my job is to try to be, now trying to be the mouthpiece and get them in front of people and get people following them and following all those backstories and the championship. We had one hell of a championship story last year, so I didn't have to try too hard to come up with material for people to try to follow last year.
Well, what about that? Frank Manzo retires, Johnny Lindbergh comes in, dominates, moves on. And then, Sean Bellemere, my goodness, the Bartone brothers team, they're like a pro team. Alan Reinhart talks about it. It's not like they want for anything, and they're going to be very difficult to stop. Who do you think has got the best opportunity to stop them or break up the party?
Definitely Doug Gordon. This year, he's definitely shown that they can haul ass, they can be consistent. Pomona, they threw down mid to low 540s in a variety of conditions. Didn't do, I think the humidity in Dallas kind of threw them a curveball, so that might have been something made the humidity. Steve Boggs being from Columbus, Ohio area, definitely has a background in humidity, so to speak. But Steve Boggs and that team, like I've told you, we've made the baseball analogies. That whole Bartone Brothers team really is like the Houston Astros of drag racing. They're just right up there at the top.
No, they are not. They are above board. They do not cheat. They do not have crazy. They got a great driver, tuner, and got top to bottom. And I heard Bob Z was on.
I was just talking about in terms of talent.
Oh, okay. All right. Then you missed it on Prestige. I thought you were going to say New York Yankees. I don't know what happened. Bill Anderson is out there. He says, Top Alcohol is my all-time favorite class. They were part of the featured shows at New England Dragway growing up. And there was no bigger round I was ever more excited than round one, Top Alcohol Funny Car, E-Town National Saturday evening.
Yeah, maybe it's just me growing up and, seeing different things. But, you talked about sitting up in the stands and watching alcohol classes. I think it just really kind of goes for any of them. This Nitro Funny Car, too, to a certain degree. But that Alcohol Funny Car, with that screw blower, coming out of a burnout, starts coming to the coast right there, stop around the 330 cone. You kind of got that smoke kind of rolling in underneath it. The driver pokes to that. I'm getting goosebumps right now. That's cool. As driver, obviously the burnout's a pretty fun part of the run too. But,
I can't.
As a band up in the stands, sitting up there at a big race like Indy or Pomona or something like that, and just seeing that happen. But another big thing that's going to happen this year is 4-wide at the 4-wides, Top Alcohol. The first 4-wide was supposed to be out in Vegas. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But the Charlotte 4-wides are going to be 4-wide, and there's some people that are interested to see what's going to happen in that first qualifying session of especially Alcohol Funny Car and Alcohol Dragster, because Alcohol Funny Car, everybody's bringing the revs up, which is going to be interesting to say the least. But also in Alcohol Dragster, you got the combination of bone cars that are going to be bringing the revs up, and an A-Fuel car that can just kind of sneak in there idle. So there's some drivers that are beside themselves or not going to be part of it, and there's some drivers that embrace it and everything in between, kind of same gamut of emotions we saw in pro classes when they went 4-wide.
Well, it's going to be loud for certain. And Top Alcohol Funny Car is one of my favorites because to me, the drama of the starting line with those RPMs up around 8,000 is nothing like that. It's just so intense and loud. And I can imagine myself sitting in a nitro car, and then when I hit the throttle, I can't imagine myself anymore. Doesn't sound realistic. But I can't imagine myself in an alcohol car with the RPMs at 8,000 on the starting line trying to figure out how to swap feet. Like, that's something that I believe is just beyond humanity. And yet, people are doing it, right? They go out there, they do it. Todd Venny's he's told me a couple of times, it's just the most amazing experience to be able to do that, swap feet and get after it. And you've said, and Dennis Taylor said, waiting for that first shift, you got to have patience.
Absolutely. Swapping feet, it's an art form and a science, and it's very, very critical. If you're not consistent on, how quickly you let out on the clutch and go down on the throttle, it's a completely different tune-up. And some drivers have, completely different styles. Some drivers like Frank Manzo, Chris Foster that I work with, they like to actually load the clutch or they're actually, and then some drivers are putting the clutch pedal all the way down on the stop. So loading the clutch, you basically you bring the motor up to 7,000, whatever you're going to leave at, and you just start easing your foot back off the clutch until you just feel a little bit of drag. Well, that from a tuning standpoint is completely different on what the motor does when you swap feet versus somebody that's leaving on the stop and how much air gap you have. So the drivers that get it done and do well, obviously are drivers that can do well on their foot swap. The new young guns of the class, Shane Westerfield, Sean Bellemere, Johnny Lindbergh, those guys, they're one of the reasons they can run so good and they can push the envelope is they swap feet pretty much the same time every time, and they're very quick on the tree.
There's a physicality to it, which people don't realize. Great job, Will. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Give the information for people that are out there watching WFO or listening on the podcast who want to follow the alcohol rank a little more closely, know about the rumors and what's going on and the stories and the personalities. Where do they go? What do they do?
Of course, they can check us out on Facebook at Inside Top Alcohol. We're on Twitter at Inside Top Alky. We do updates there from the races. And then our new show we've been working on, Top Alcoholin', kind of a reality show concept. Follow some teams through the weekend, kind of show the behind the scenes of what goes on in the race. We're on YouTube. The easiest way to find that is just go to our website, InsideTopAlcohol.com. Right on our homepage, you can click on the latest episode. There's links and everything, and it's just the easiest way. I thought the Top Alcohol and with the K was a cool name and cool presentation until I was like, man, how am I going to get people to search for this?
Right. Keywords and shirts.
Fortunately, we have the Inside Top Alcohol, so that's pretty easy for people to find, and we're able to leverage from that. But yeah, it's still cool, the Top Alcohol, and we're going to continue to grow it. Working on an episode, we're actually going to have all the rounds from the Lone Star Nationals in our next episode, kind of more of a race coverage type of deal. And that was, like I said, that was one hell of a race, and I'm looking forward to seeing that event grow. And those belt buckles that Andy Carter and the Texas Motorplex put together definitely are something that I think racers are going to kind of strive for.
Well, that is great. And it was also drag racing culturally important to get out there and do it and have a race. And you were there, and it was not your best moment. This is your best moment, but it was definitely one of your big moments. Will, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you out there somewhere on the tour. I know we got divisional racing down in Houston and around the country up there in Epping as well, a couple others. So, if you're going to the track this weekend, have a good time, enjoy. Bottom line, thanks for coming on the show.
Yep, be out of Baytown Division 4 race this weekend, tuning the Cruise Missile Top Dragster, and hopefully see you up in Brainerd at the Lucas Oil Nationals covering some Top Alcohol.
The Cruise Missile Top Dragster. That thing's like, 16s at 223 or something?
244.
244. And so that's it. They don't see you coming up from behind.
That's the whole plan.
I like it. Well, good luck. Good luck, D, and have fun out there. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, always a pleasure, and thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Will Hanna, appreciate it. Remember,
go Stros.
Go Yankees. There he goes. Get out of here with that nonsense. Will there ever be baseball again? That is the question. I don't know if I can answer it. But thanks to Will. Well, I've been planning to have Will on the show for a long time, and I just wanted to build it up until we get him on video. Now we finally were able to do it. And that's as simple as that. But thank you very much, Will. Appreciate all you listeners out there. We had Phil Burgess, NHRA National Dragster. We had Matt Hartford. Tomorrow, 4:00 Eastern Time, we will have another WFO happy hour. And it's going to be Jason Logan, this guy, and Courtney Enders. Courtney is going to be out at Baytown. And so I don't know exactly what her role is going to be, Houston Raceway Park. And she says she's going to check in from the track, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to have a great time. But I recommend you coming on. Now, last week, the happy hour shows, just so you know, they're available always. I have reorganized our YouTube channel a little bit. I'm way behind on the whole YouTube thing, guys. But I'm gaining steam. Go to youtube.com. WFO Radio TV is the channel. WFO Radio TV, because you can see it. And click subscribe, click the bell, and you'll be able to see all of the happy hour shows. The Ron Tobler Wine Night Show, tremendous. It was so much fun. I felt like of all the things that happened during this whole COVID craziness, we've had some big moments on there. Beer with Selzy, the Gary Selzy show. But in its own way, the Dom Lagana show from last week, one of my favorites, the Nitro Ninja, Dom Lagana. Look at that. That's like my head right there. We had a lot of fun as Bobby and Dom told their stories from growing up and back in the day and working on their cars and celebrating great victories and growing up drag racing. That is in the WFO Radio archive on the WFO Radio mobile app for iPhone or Android. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on our Facebook page. Of course, subscribe. And we encourage you to share. Like, tell your friends. Let's get some more people on here. Let's see. What do we got? Eric is out there. Great show. Keep up the great work. Good to finally put a name with a face with Will. Yeah, Will's a good guy. The announcing thing, working together. I always enjoy when Will comes in because he's bringing some insight. He's down there in the pits and he's driven the cars. We need baseball. I'm not watching cornhole tournaments. We need baseball. Scott says, Courtney brings the fun. Yes, she does. She brings the fun. No, we do need baseball. We got to get back. It's, what was it? The battle, Will said it before we came on the air. The battle of billionaires versus millionaires is what it is. And yes, it's true. But I also understand nobody wants to get shorted and capitulate. I get it. But we need baseball. We need New York Yankee baseball so we can get out there and get after those Astros and prove to them what they, the only reason they won was because of their star pitching. And now we got them. Simple as that. So 4:00 tomorrow. Hey, I want to say, first of all, if you want WFO Radio stickers, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. It is one of the best things I do, and I actually have a couple of people send me stuff in there, which I don't need anything. But look, this gentleman, I could have put this on the screen, but he's got his little race room in there. He's showing me his race room, and he wrote me a very nice letter. Joe, I want to thank you for all the live shows that you've been doing, et cetera, and so on. I'm not going to read the whole thing because people have short attention span, but look at these fantastic communications that I get when people send a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you so much. And thank you to our sponsors, without which we would not be able to do this show, like Holly Performance. Go to holly.com. For over 115 years, they've been in this business. Now Holly FI is dominating the competition out there, and they can help you dominate as well. But maybe you don't want to dominate anybody. Maybe you've just got a cool old classic car that you want it to run very smoothly and well and feel like your regular car and just have a cool retro look. Well, Holly has got the performance products to make you do it. Go to holly.com to find out more information. Also, Marvin Rodak. I'm almost about to put in a call for Marvin because this bag is about to get moved into the cafeteria area here at Castello Media, right? We are almost done with Bang the Blower. And the last blend, the WFO Radio blend, is on deck. So we'll have to reach out and call Marvin. You should call Marvin, 817-924-6821, and try the coffee, but also you got to try the hot sauce, the Habanero Endorphin Booster. Why have I never brought a bottle of that into the studio so you could see it, which would be the best point to sell? It is beautiful. It's a hot sauce, right? How could it be beautiful? Trust me, it's beautiful. Call Marvin. And if you don't, that's your own problem. You're missing out. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Hartford has got star power. I think he does. He's got star power. He's got the blonde hair. He's a little cocky. He's not afraid to talk some smack. They're fast. He can drive. Thing about Matt Hartford that I have learned, and it's funny when you learn these things. I don't know everybody's bio. I'm out there to see drag racing. Who worked for whom, at what time, 15 years ago, who was behind the scenes. I don't know all of that. But I learn and I keep my ears open, and all of a sudden, Hartford's been around a long time, man. He's been involved in a lot of stuff that has been going down out there in the world of NHRA drag racing. So good luck to him. And of course, Total Seal, check them out. They had that big 20% off going on. Tools, I should have worked them for the leak down tool. Darn it. That was going to be on my list of to-do things when I talked to Matt Hartford. Oh, well, there'll be another opportunity. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The Dragster Adventure, they travel around the country. They're not doing that just yet, but they do have classes in Gainesville, Florida. If you ever thought about getting a super comp, super gas license, or going through a course, if you're a bracket racer who wants to get better, Frank Hawley can help you out. It's the mental. That's why you win or lose. Why did I lose this past Saturday when I went bracket racing? Because the mental was not correct. go to frankhawley.com. And of course, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Smart people, the next generation, guys that are going to take the place of Will and Matt, all of those people. You can go to a school, samtech.edu. It can be your future. Maybe you don't want to be involved in racing like your parents are yelling at you saying, like, racing, are you crazy? Well, people have gone to Samtech and ended up at Boeing or other aerospace industries. They know how to program a CNC machine. I know our friends at Wilson Manifolds have got a couple of Samtech grads over there. So go to samtech.edu. They have financial aid. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. And your country needs you. Go become a crew chief on a racing team. Simple as that. I'm WFO Joe. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My own racing exploits. This past weekend, we had fun. I went and raced the GTO, lost first round, came back, bought back in, lost second round, was humiliated. But it was all a great time. And the next time I get out there, I will be much better now that I feel like I have a mini starting line routine. The podcast, Ignition Show, podcast only. Worth listening to, fun, entertaining. We cover NASCAR, we cover Formula One, a lot of NHRA drag racing stories, but also Sports Collision. You want to hear battles about various sporting teams. It's general interest talk radio, man. It's a personality show. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Go to and write a review. We would appreciate that. Of course, the YouTube channel and nitrofishracing.com. Get a WFO shirt so you can be out there in Indianapolis rocking your WFO Radio 10-year anniversary shirt, the podfather of drag racing, and it will be good. Let's see. Final comments. It's Joey Rocket. Oh, my gosh, Joey writing a long text, Joey. It's Joey Rocket, everybody. Joey Rocket. I promised I would tell the Joey Rocket story, but I think I'm going to wait until someone else can back it up, like maybe with Jason Logan tomorrow. Jason's got to know Joey Rocket. Everybody knows Joey Rocket. Just checking in. Sorry I missed it from the beginning, brother. I should be in Indy for the first race, the China virus, etc., and so on. Love and may Nitro Metal Gods be with you, says Joey Rocket. Thank you very much, Joey Rocket. Everybody's like, Joey Rocket? Who's this Joey Rocket? I'm going to have to dig a picture up of Joey Rocket on the starting line so that everybody understands. And this was a weird show on Facebook. You know, we were experiencing intense lightning storms here in South Florida, and I could tell by our numbers, at least in the very beginning, that something was a little funky, like getting funky like a monkey. But now we got it all sorted out. Thank you to you WFO Radio listeners, people who watch, share the show, start watch parties after the fact. You don't realize how good that is. You start a watch party and you watch and you comment, just like watching the live show. Appreciate you doing that throughout the week. Download the podcast. And to Matt Hartford and Phil Burgess and Will Hanna, thank you so much. Early in the week, Alan Reinhart. Tomorrow, Courtney Enders and Jason Logan. Bring a beer. We're going to have fun, chill out, find out the latest, greatest in the world of NHRA drag racing, in the world in general. And thanks to you people who send in for the stickers, sending a self-addressed stamp envelope, who take time to write a nice communication. Definitely keeps me going. I really appreciate it. The world of drag racing is coming back really soon. It will not be long. It's right around the corner. And if you're in the area or at one of our events or near one of our events, if you haven't been in many years, if you feel comfortable, we definitely want you to come out and support the sport. NHRA.tv, all the stuff about being an NHRA member. I believe it. I am an NHRA member. And now is the time to support NHRA Drag Racing, the sport that we love. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Really appreciate all of you folks. You can dive into the archive. Greg Anderson last week, Caleb Cox last week, the Dom and Bobby Happy Hour show. So much fun, very entertaining. For me, I'm just sitting back watching and letting these guys have a great time. Thanks to our sponsors and appreciate all of you, every one of you, WFO.